Welcome to our Breakfast Club call. My name is Pamela Pacheco, and I have the absolute honor, pleasure, and privilege of being your host, like I do on every Thursday morning. Welcome. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. If you're joining us once again, welcome home. I remember when I first embarked upon entrepreneurship, I was looking forward to these type of morning mentorship calls, not only for the information I was going to receive, but for the inspiration I was going to receive. How you start your day sets the tone for your day. So kudos to each and every single one of you guys that decided to start your morning off with some fire this morning, with some positivity. Drop in the chat, where are you dialing in from? I see we have Tampa, Florida in the building. Welcome. We have New York City, Jersey, Philly, Jamaica, Atlanta, Chicago. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the call. Make sure that you are sending to all panelists and attendees if you're joining us on Zoom. If you are watching the live, type an L. If you are watching the R, type a replay for the R. So, I am super excited because this is something not only that has completely been life changing, what I want to talk to you guys about today, but more than anything, it's allowed me to meet incredible people, become the best version of myself in the process. And more than anything, right? It's the people that you get to meet along the journey. And I always tell people, if you want to change anything, and I mean absolutely anything about your life, you have got to be intentional about it. It has absolutely of the essence that in how you do anything is truly how you do everything. And what I want to talk to you guys about, the highest return of investment, right? The highest ROI you'll ever make. And I know my investors are like, ooh, she's going to talk about money. Yes. However, I believe that the highest ROI you'll ever make is in you. Investing in yourself changes everything. The reality is money comes and goes, opportunities come and go, but the return in your life on you compounds for life, forever. And I believe that it actually echoes through eternity. And a lot of people sometimes will ask, well, Pam, what does that look like for you? What does that look like, for me if I am in business? What does this look like for me if I am in a career professional? What does this look like for me as a parent? What does this look like for me in every aspect? Well, I believe that return of investment is not only something that you get when you invest in yourself because it compounds, but I believe that when you invest in yourself, the stewardship, right? And why I say that is because I believe God gives us unlimited potential. And what we do with it, what we do with our gifts, our contribution to humanity is our gift back to God, because we have to make a contribution. And I know I'm using like absolutes, we have to, because I'm passionate about it. But I suggest that if what matters most to me is not only me utilizing my gifts, but more than anything, leaving a contribution to humanity that will outlive you, because that is truly legacy. And this is something that it should be a part of your identity. And we talk about identity a lot because identity is beyond the titles, it's beyond the positions, it's beyond the roles, it's beyond the glitz, glamour, all of these things. Identity is what still remains when all of those titles go away, when the roles go away, when the roles have shift a lot of the time. So when we are talking about, investing in yourself, maybe you're the person that's like, well, I want to invest in my faith. And I love that for you, because I believe in doing that. Right now, I'm in a 21-day fast with my church, right? And I believe investing in your faith. Yes. Why? Because it matters. Your spirituality matters. Your mental matters, each and every single aspect. This weekend, in fact, I am going to be on a retreat for 3 days. Shout out to Abundant Love Worship Center. And this was something that, 2 months ago, I made a decision to do so. I have not been in a retreat like overnight since I was probably a teenager. And we're talking about over 30 years, y'all. But it is something that is important. Why? Because I want to grow in every aspect of my life. I want to make sure that I am investing in myself, because I want to not only be more spiritually grounded, I want to be aware. I want to be closer to God. I want to grow in every aspect of my life. So when we think of, the highest investment that you can ever make is on you, because when we talk about your return of investment, it's not only for growth, but also this is what, when people see you also investing in yourself, whether you are a business person, whether you are a career professional, this also shows that you have credibility. It also shows that you are intentional. It shows that you are mature. It shows that you actually care, that you're going the extra mile. Because when you talk about self investment is strategy. It's not just self help. And a lot of people, kind of get that a little twisted, but this is something that aligns with you in every aspect of your life, in your faith, in your growth. And more than anything, this is something that I believe that you cannot build the next version of your life in the same investment level. And this is why self investment isn't optional. I believe it's truly the cost of growth. When you think of having a shift in your mindset from, survival to stewardship, it's all to do with the power of investing in yourself. So when I see people and they're like, man, I don't know necessarily if I can afford to do this or I can afford to do that. Well, I think that's even more reason why you can't afford not to do something. When we're talking about investing, yes, I'm going on a retreat investing in my faith, but I also invest in my faith every day. I'm putting in daily deposits every single day. From the time I wake up that I'm meditating to the moment that I am on a prayer call at 6 a.m. with my church, because we're still in a fast, right? When I am praying by myself, when this fast is over, when I'm still am praying by myself, even during the fast, when I am reading my Bible. It's the daily deposits that we make in ourselves that go the long way. So when we're thinking about actually saying, well, this is something that, is it optional? No, it's non-negotiable, because if you truly are a person that's like, I'm locked in on my gifts, I'm locked in and going all in, it's the third week of the year, and a lot of people are like, I'm excited, and it kind of has just dwindled down. And I'm gonna take a sip of my coffee as I say that. Yes, because we all know it's true, right? A lot of people have, it has already just kind of dwindled down, that enthusiasm, like that spirit that they started out the year with. Why? Because they haven't compartmentalized their life, and they haven't said, well, am I making daily deposits? Maybe I'm not necessarily going to a conference, but am I making daily deposits? I spoke about this a few weeks ago when we had our mastermind and mimosas, which was our third annual goal setting and vision board brunch. This year, we added a prayer board dynamic to it, right? But we had a financial panel. Why? Because you need to get your financial house in order. We had a peak performance panel. We had keynote speakers talking about goal setting, talking about peak performance, talking about what that looks like for your entire life. Then, of course, putting it all together in your vision. But I also like to add the dynamic of the prayer board. Why? Because I believe in, you need to have front and center the things that you are praying for, the actions you are taking, and how God is showing up and how He is answering those prayers. Another thing that you'll always catch me making daily deposits in, right, is my fitness. And why is that important? Well, health is wealth. You think I'm gonna be doing this to build a legacy, to build wealth, to help so many people and not be able to enjoy it? Absolutely not. So it is important that you're making daily deposits in your health. Even when you don't see me posting, I'm working out, I'm moving my body, because moving your body is honoring yourself. It's beyond the aesthetics. Yes, everybody's like, oh my goodness, you look so good. You're aging backwards. I know. Thank you. I got it from my mama. But really and truly, it's how I feel. It's knowing that I'm prioritizing my health. It's knowing that I'm prioritizing my well being. It's knowing that I am prioritizing the things that matter. Now I'm incorporating more stretching, more Pilates in my workouts. Why? Because I do high intense workouts. And as I'm building my muscles, I also know, well, I need to make sure that these are things that I am perfecting, that I am getting better, that I am taking care of the temple that God gave me. Another thing, while I'm doing this fast, right? Nutrition wise, I am fasting from red meat. I am fasting from alcohol. Everybody's doing dry January, right? I might extend it. It was a few years ago. I only drank 5 times the first half of the year, and I felt absolutely incredible. And these are things, again, I'm just sharing my personal journey of the things that have worked for me. And when we think about, you know, when we think about all of these things of why it is actually non-negotiable, it's the feeling. It's also me drinking a gallon of water a day. A lot of people that know me from, years ago, they're like, oh my goodness, your skin looks radiant, it's like this, it's like that. Well, I also invest in facials. I also invest in taking care of myself. I also invest in drinking water and minding my business, but making sure that all of those things matter, because it's the compound effect in every aspect of your life. Making sure that I am investing always, and I'm going to go back to the personal trainer, because sometimes people are like, man, why do you invest in this? Well, I'm a coach and I'm a consultant. So when I am going to these Fortune 500 companies, or I am going to businesses or entrepreneurs, and I am helping them scale, and I have the audacity to charge the prices that I charge, it's because I know the value that that they're investing in. However, I also know the value that I am bringing. And I also believe in investing in those areas of my life that I want to see a return of investment, because it's not only what you see right now, it's the compound effect on these things. So making sure that in every aspect, when it comes to your health, when it comes to your faith, when it comes to your fitness, when it comes to your nutrition, you are investing in you, because ultimately that is the highest return of investment that you will ever get. Now, when you talk about, your nutrition, and I'm going to spend a little time on this, and I'm not going to spend too much on this. Water, yes, it's an essential part, but you know what you need to cut out. Nobody needs to tell you. Like, yes, there's so many different type of fasts that you can do. And here's what I realize people do. They go and they start something and they don't finish. And then they're like, well, something happened. It's life. You have to have a position that you say, you know what? Yes, and I love Lisa Bevere. I actually listened to her preach at my church in Miami, VU conference over a decade ago. She gave me the book. Well, I bought the book, The Lioness Arising, and it was completely life changing. And last night, we are in a fast with church, and she actually was a guest speaker. And she said, you're not a victim, you are a threat. And I was like, yes, because, we always say you're not a victim, you're a victor. But I love that she said, you're not a victim, you are a threat, because every time you get up, every time that you are awake, every time that you are a step closer, walking in your assignment, walking in your anointing, you are a threat to the enemy. You are a threat to opposing forces. You are a threat to the status quo. You are a threat to the normalcy, to the mediocrity, to all of these things that a lot of people are just taking, that think it's average, or they may just say, well, you know what, it may not necessarily be the timing for me. But when you know that you are here to not only be, on purpose, for a purpose, you make the choices that go accordingly, because you understand, when the reality is we're taught to invest in everything except ourselves. And this is why I'm proud to say that I've invested multiple six figures in this, because people upgrade their phones, they upgrade their cars, they upgrade their homes, but they hesitate to upgrade their mind. They hesitate to upgrade their skills. They hesitate to upgrade the proximity. And investment isn't about money alone, it is about the time, the focus, the energy, and your daily decisions. Not just the decisions one time, because when you decide, you hear me say it all the time, you kill off all other options. You cut off all other options. You cut off from the things that do not serve you. So when I tell people all the time, what you focus on the longest becomes the strongest. Where attention goes, energy flows. What you focus on expands. Every version of me I've ever met required a new investment. So when some people are like, well, I have the fear of wasting money. Well, you should have the fear of staying stuck, should be greater. When you are conditioning yourself around being practical or waiting until later. It's the guilt that starts creeping up about actually investing in yourself, especially for women, especially for parents, especially for caretakers, for leaders. Well, I'll invest once I'm more confident. That is a lie from the pits of hell. Okay? Send it back to the foot of the cross where it belongs. I will invest when I'm ready. The truth of the matter is, you're never going to be ready. You're never, and even when those times that you're like, well, I feel a little ready, you're never going to be fully ready to go all in. Sometimes people are like, oh, I'll invest when I'm a little bit more successful. And that is just a lie, because confidence is usually the result from investment. And this is why it's a lot of people think, well, I need to be confident before I invest. No. It's not the requirement, it's the result of you investing in yourself. So I ask you, where have you delayed investing in yourself because of fear? Where have you delayed investing in yourself because you are dealing with guilt? Where have you delayed investing in yourself because you just don't feel adequate enough, or you don't feel ready enough, or whatever the case is? And here's an even greater question. What has that delayed cost you? What has it cost you? What has it cost you? See, one of the reasons I don't play about my trainer, I don't play about my health, is because I know for a fact it will cost me more not to invest in my health. It will cost me more not to invest in my mindset, not to invest in my spirituality, not to invest in these things. It's interesting because, you guys saw me kick off the year with our mastermind and mimosas, right? Then you guys saw me last week we were at Podfest, and I actually had two conferences that weekend. One of them was for my travel club. It was in Arizona. But for the first time, I actually got invited into Podfest. Why? Because I decided to go all in on myself and have a real podcast, right? Monetize my brand. Y'all know I'm all about monetization. And in less than 60 days, we monetized on YouTube and actually got invited by Buzzsprout to come out to Podfest. And my brother and best friend was actually speaking at Podfest. And not only did I gain invaluable insight as to how to take my show and my podcast to the next level, but I also met incredible people. I also met so many different people in so many different walks of life that have gone all in on themselves. When you go into a room and there's over 2,000 people just excited about life, and you see that they don't all look like you, it is truly something very special. And whether or not they would have covered my ticket, guess where I would have been? Right there. Right there. Why? Because my secret to success in life, my secret to success in entrepreneurship, even before I got into entrepreneurship 12 years ago, has always been investing in yourself, right? I can go back when I was in the banking world as a commercial banker. I was in things like Leadership Hollywood, that to this day, I have the greatest friends. I was the person that when I had to get my Series 6 and my Series 63, and if you have no idea what I'm talking about, that's okay. But if you know, you know. I'm also investing in tutors to help me with my studies. I can even go way back when I was a child and I was the person that wanted to be a student athlete. And my mom's like, well, if you want to play softball and you want to stay in JROTC and you want to stay in all of these things, you can't keep your grades down. And we couldn't afford tutoring, right? We couldn't afford this extra stuff. But you know what I did find? The resources that were giving complimentary tutoring. So I would take my butt right after school and go right up to our library and go right up to the free tutoring that was happening, because I understood that if I wanted to do something that if I wanted to get something that I have never gotten, which was great grades in geometry and getting better in all of these things and making sure that my grades were not slipping, I needed to do something that I've never done to get something that I have never gotten. So I can go back to every aspect of my life and every phase of my life at moments where investing in myself was just absolutely non-negotiable. So I ask you, where are those things that you're like, man, I haven't actually invested in myself? And I'm going to tell you, self-investment actually looks like. It's beyond courses, it's beyond coaches, but it's learning new skill sets. It's getting in the right rooms, it's building systems, it's protecting your energy, and it's asking for guidance sooner than later. Because spending, it's emotional, ladies. I'm sorry, I know, right? I listen, new shoes clears the views. I love that. Yes, I'm all for it. However, investing is intentional. Spending is emotional, investing is intentional. So I ask you to ask yourself, are you consuming or are you building? Are you busy or are you actually progressing? Because a lot of people confuse the two. You could be busy and it looks like you just busy, but are you busy being productive and profitable? Or are you just busy to kill time and to just check off the box and say, oh, I did something today? Because growth accelerates in the right environments. And that is why I'm so grateful, because Podfest was something that, why was it life changing? Not only to be surrounded by so much knowledge, but to see the possibility. We have people that have won Emmys. We have people that have won Hall of Fame. We have people on TV. We have people that had multi-million dollar YouTube accounts, right? We had so many different people from all different walks of life, from doctors to lawyers to, crime stoppers, to so many different people, engineers, architects, affiliate marketing, dentists. Like, it was incredible. Glass manufacturers, people that spoke Spanish, people that didn't. And shout out to the Latino Podfest community. We had such a great time. I met such incredible people. Thank you to JP for actually putting that together. That was a great meetup. I absolutely met one of the most incredible human beings I had a great time with. Shout out to Dismelo Jasmine. Absolutely love you, girl, if you're tuning into this. But yeah, it was crazy because we met so great people, and it was just like we knew each other from before. We knew each other from ever. And this is why I understand that every leap I've ever happened to make, when I invested in proximity, it not only catapulted my business, catapulted my brand, my knowledge, my skill sets, it catapulted every aspect of me. And what I realized is that you don't need access to everything. You just need access to the right things. And this is why you always hear me preaching. Like, why? Because I practice what I preach. Right. So I told you how, in my faith, in my fitness, in my fortune, right, in my family, in my fun, it's investing, making those daily deposits in the areas that truly, truly matter. And it is important because, why did I say earlier, self-investment is stewardship. And I believe that that's just faith and leadership combined, because stewardship means preparing for what you're believing for. Are you preparing for what you're believing for? And that's why it was also very important to me to add the prayer board dynamic when we did our third annual goal setting and vision board brunch, because it was important for people to actually understand that preparation matters. Investing in yourself honors your assignment, not the ego, because, oh, I know this and I met that and I'm doing this. No, no, no. It is honoring the assignment over your life. So when you understand that your gifts make room for you, when you understand that you are on assignment and there's an anointing over your life, you do not take it lightly. You do not play with that. And when people tell me like, oh, don't know if I could afford this or I could afford that. Well, that's the reason why you can't afford not to do it. That's the reason why you got to figure out the way, because, like my great friend Jim Rohn says, finding is for the seekers. So you ask and you shall have, you knock and you shall receive, all of those things. Why? Because if you're not out there doing your best to actually get it, you're not going to see it come to fruition. You're not going to actually see it come to pass. And I need to remind you of this. You're not investing in yourself because you're selfish. You're actually investing in yourself because you're responsible. You're investing in yourself because you truly want to be selfless. And when I think of people, that are investing in themselves, one of the things that I invested in a few months ago was my systems, my infrastructure. Why? Because I realized that I was all over the place. I had my community in one, my coaching and consulting in another platform. I'm using this to send out my emails. I'm using this to send out automation text. I was using too many different things, and it was absolutely driving me insane. And I said, well, what if I can just put everything all together? Why? Because inspiration without structure burns people out. And the systems you always hear me talk about, it's saving yourself some time, energy, and money, but your systems protect your time. They protect your focus, they protect your energy. And successful people, here's what I've also learned of my friends that are successful. And I'm talking about not only seven figure, eight figures, right? Multiple six figures, people that have been free like me for decades upon decades, right? For their entire life, that are living their best life. They don't rely on memory, they rely on systems. And one of the biggest shifts for me was actually building support that works even when I'm offline, even when I am with my nieces and nephews. And again, talking about investing in yourself, right? This past weekend, two of my daughters, shout out to Genesis and Annabelle, right? My goddaughter slash niece Genesis and my goddaughter Annabelle had volleyball tournaments. So my brother and I were at the volleyball tournaments on Sunday and Monday. And shout out to both of them because they won the gold in the Nike First and Show. But that it was also me depositing, doing daily deposits in my family because that quality time is precious. One of them is 14, one of them is 12, but they are depositing every day in their craft. Their parents are not only paying for them to be a part of these organizations, which what people pay for two mortgages, right? But they're also showing up at practice. They're also showing up there. I'm also, as I'm there, pouring into their mindset, right? Speaking to all of the girls because I know success is a mindset. Winning is a mindset. And when you talk about you're normalizing winning, when you talk about you are normalizing success in your family, it's also knowing that being aware of your surroundings. If I hadn't invest multiple six figures in my mindset, in my personal development, I wouldn't have been able to on the fly talk to them about winning is in your mindset. Let it go. Lock in. Leadership, lead your ship. All of these things that just roll off of the tip of my tongue. Why? Because it's second nature, because I've done it for such a long time. And this is not, it's not just, oh, a call. It's not just a post. It's not just a podcast. It's who I am. It's a different level of me every single time I'm showing up. So when you're talking about making sure that you are not only investing in yourself, because every different level of you is going to determine, is going to require a different version of you showing up each and every single time. So when I'm thinking of, man, what is next and what